Hey, what's going on, Marcel?
Easy G, how you doing?
Yeah, I can't complain. Never been better. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Sorry if I'm a little bit flustered. We've literally just been sparring. We're going crazy. So
Hey, it's
yeah.
all good. It happens, man. It happens.
So tell me, what's your name and how long you been in the real world for?
Yeah, so my name is Jerry Goldman. I'm a former U.S. Marine, so I'm 34 years old. I've been in the real world for about 3 years now, and
Yeah,
I know it seems like kind of a long time, but for most of that time, I wasn't really taking it all that seriously. So I've only been really taking it seriously within like the last year,
yeah.
and I've managed to make like over $40,000 now. I'm growing my online business, and yeah, I'm literally just like I don't have to work a 9 to 5 job or anything. Yeah, so it's been a great experience.
So from joining the real world, what made you take that next step to actually start taking it serious? Because you said at the beginning you was kind of in it, but
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, to kind of just going back a little bit, like what got me into the real world in the first place. So, after the core, I ended up working a dead end job. It was a corporate 9 to 5 job, spent nearly a decade just like climbing up the ladder. And then one day I got fired, like literally overnight. And then, like, my whole life got turned upside down. And I lost my apartment, lost my car. Um, and it was a pretty rough experience. And that's when I realized that, like I told myself, never again will I ever allow somebody else to have control over my life or like my destiny.
yeah,
So then I ended up in the music industry a little bit. I was a music producer and DJ. I got pretty far, just not far enough to where I was still broke. And then I was like doing Uber Eats and various gig based jobs, like like things like that. And then one day I heard Andrew Tate. I was one of his videos came up on my YouTube feed, him talking about like are you like are you suffering, or are you struggling, time's running out, you deserve more, it's time for you to break free, start making money on your own. And I was sitting in my car at the time doing Uber Eats. It was like it was sunny out, it was hot. I live in Southern California, so it gets pretty hot down here. And and I was just miserable, and I was like, you know what, he's right, like I've had enough. And I joined up. But when I first joined, I was still kind of in the music industry. So I still had my hopes of like making it as a producer and DJ. So I wasn't really fully 100% in it, like my full on power and focus. And then the car I was using at the time broke down, so I didn't have a car anymore, so I couldn't do Uber Eats. And then that was like my next like really really low point. So that's when I said, you know what, like I'm still broke as a music producer. I'm sick of this. Tate's right when he says, you could go for being an actor, or you could go for like in the music industry, but those people are still for the most part broke.
yeah.
And the only way is going to be to start your own online business and do something for yourself to do that route. And that's when it hit me. And I was like, you're right. Like I'm sick of suffering like this. That's it. So I decided to take it seriously. And then I entered the SMCA campus. So the social media and client acquisition campus. And Professor Moneybag, like shout out to Professor Moneybag. Moneybag always delivers. And he really, just his whole mindset. So his mindset course really just refocused my mind, and just really set me up for success, and how he teaches how to get clients, and his overall culture that he has, like everything that he taught, like really just instilled that a very successful mindset in my mind. And then yeah, and then from there, I was just full speed ahead. So I do social media management now. And so I have a social media management business. I'm making around 4K a month. And that's all within the last like eight to 9 months. So and I continue to scale every single day. So yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you said you tried a few things before you went into the real world. So you kind of like tried different angles, and then you've come to find that real world is the one that's actually delivering what you need to make money,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah.
What is some of the trials and tribulations you faced while coming up in the real world? What are some of the things that you may have faced, whether it was focus that you needed working on? What was the things that was made clear to you through the real world, that, or the trials and tribulations that you come like as you was making your way up the ranks?
Yeah. It a lot of people, and I think it's the whole it's the matrix, that whole matrix mentality. Is a lot of people, they want they want the reward without having to do the work,
Yeah.
right? They think that they just want to, they want to get rich, they want to make money, they want to do this, they want to, you know, escape and not have to work a job and do all this, but they don't want to actually have to put in the work and give it their all to actually make it happen. And I never really was that person. I was just kind of not really taking it seriously.
Yeah.
I still had my heart in my on my dream of being a famous music producer and DJ. So I really wasn't really taking it all that seriously. But when I was, a lot of the trials and tribulations really came down to just consistency, right? Um, so sometimes you could listen to the lessons that the professors give you, and you could apply it, but what a lot of people don't realize is it's not, you're not going to, like, the next day you're not going to have 10, 20, 30 clients, you know,
Yeah.
or in a week. Sometimes it just doesn't, it's possible, right? There are some people in the campus that I've heard of that's happened to, but I wasn't one of them. And I realized that the consistency and just staying at it every single day and sticking to the process, that was one of the main things that really kind of propelled me to where I am at now. So I would say that the biggest trial and tribulation was just my own mind and my own mentality, and just realizing that I need to be patient, accept my current situation, and give it my all every single day. And if I keep doing that, then eventually the universe is going to reward me with my hard work.
Yeah. And how did you pick what canvas you wanted to go in, or what career path you wanted to go in? How did you pick that?
Yeah, so I started off in the copywriting campus because back when I first joined, it was like, well, what would happen is when you first sign up, you know, they ask you, you know, do you currently have any cash coming in? How old are you? Things like that. And based on your answers, they'll recommend you a specific campus. And obviously, at the time, I was old enough, right? I was in my 30s, but I was pretty much dead broke. So they suggested me to start in the copywriting campus. So that's where I started, and I started off learning copywriting. I did email copywriting. That was one of my first clients, was in email copywriting, actually. And then at that point I still wasn't all that serious. But then when I decided to switch over to or to join the SMCA campus, and at the time I don't even think it was called SMCA. It was called, I think it was just like the client acquisition campus, I believe.
Yeah.
And I don't even, to be honest, I don't even know how I ended up there. It wasn't something like I want to go to this campus. It was kind of like I was just, oh, let's see what this campus is all about. Oh, let's see what this campus is
Yeah.
all about. And what
So
Professor Moneyback talks about, you know, skipping, you know, campus hopping. That's what I was doing.
so
And
in the, sorry to cut you. So in the beginning, it gave you the tools, considering your circumstance, in which they would suggest to be the best starting place for you.
yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, and yeah, so that was the first skill I learned, and it's one of the most valuable skills. I still use it to this day, even with social media management. It literally, Professor Andrew, he does an amazing job with copywriting and in general, just overall like business, because he goes way deep and way in depth with copywriting. It's not just, you know, oh, here's a template to write an email sequence. No, he goes deep into it. So if you apply what he teaches you, you're pretty much set in any kind of marketing. So that gave me my baseline skills. Um, and then from there, when I entered the client acquisition campus, Professor Moneybag started teaching social media management. And since I already had experience in social media, especially in the music industry, I decided to kind of not necessarily switch skills, because in social media management, copywriting is a fundamental skill, right? Writing the captions for posts and things like that. But mainly just kind of like doing a little shift. And it was just that one shift that really kind of, that's what hit. That's like, okay, cool. I'm having a lot more success with this one skill. I'm a lot, I enjoy it a lot more. I'm a lot better at it. And I stuck with that. And yeah, and then here I am.
That's kind of cool because you said you was in the music industry, so it obviously must have
Mhm.
recognized that you're in a creative space as well, like a creative mind. So the social media and, like I said, thinking of ways to make people engage via art and stuff like that. I'm guessing that's right
Mhm.
down your alley. So even the tools are pretty accurate to be able to guide you in the right place, as long as you're able to give it the correct information, correct, honest information as well.
Right.
That I'd say that's one of the key things. So that's
Exactly.
really cool. If you could go back and speak to yourself when you first started, what would you tell yourself? When, so you said you
I
started
would,
making money in like the last 9 months, right?
yeah,
If you could go
yes,
like to the
within the last nine
beginning,
months, most of
what
it.
would you say to
So,
them?
what would I say? I would say, stick to one, stick to one skill. So okay, hold on. I would say don't expect results right away. I know there's a lot of stuff online, especially when you're in the matrix and you're mindlessly scrolling. You see all the flashy stuff from a lot of different people. And what you don't see is their come up. You see the end result. You see them. You don't see the hard work that it took for that particular influencer that you may look up to. You don't see what it took for them to get there. So you think that, oh, okay, well, it must be easy. I'll just join, and then literally within a few days, I don't have to do anything. And then suddenly I'm gonna be right there sitting with Andrew Tate on a yacht and all this stuff. And it really 99% of the time it doesn't work that way. So understand that and make sure you give it your all. Don't get distracted by all the outside noise. Listen to what your professors are telling you and apply what they're telling you and stick to it. And as long as you stick to it and you're consistent and you get good at that one skill that you're learning, you will get the results that you want. And don't ever give up.
Amazing. And now you're on this path where you're making your own money and you have your own time. Like, what's one of the major benefits you've seen now that you are able to make money your own way and no one's watching you how you do it? You do it yourself, your own time. To everything's on you. You're in charge of your own bank and your own destiny. How does that feel? Explain to the people how that is a change of pace or change of lifestyle.
Yeah, it's the first time I made my first bit of money that wasn't from a job, if we could start with there, it
Yeah,
was the most amazing feeling, right? Because before I always had to rely on a boss to pay me or, some corporate job to pay me. And knowing that I just made, even though it wasn't that much, I think it was like $600 was the first money I ever made from the real world. And that's why I'm saying people have to stick to it, right? You have to start somewhere. You're not going to be rich right away. But just that first bit, just knowing that I did that, nobody else gave it to me. I did that 100%. It was all on me using the skills that I learned in the real world and going out there and making it happen. I made this. It wasn't from a job, and it was that mindset that really went with that first bit of money I made. That's when I was like,
yeah,
this feels amazing. It's kind of like an addiction, it really, you get addicted to it.
amazing.
And then now that I have a lot more clients, my workload is a lot heavier. It's just a different frame of mind. Like you feel more like a boss.
Fulfilled. You feel
Yeah.
more fulfilled. That's the
You
truth.
feel more, yeah, exactly. You feel more like fulfilled and um kind of like not necessarily like you made it, but like you don't have to worry about somebody firing you and losing your whole life overnight like that ever again. Like your destiny is in control of,
Yeah,
like, you are in control of your life and your destiny. You'll never have to ever worry about looking for another job again or anything like that. You need more money, cool, then you know exactly what to do to go out there and make that money. It's not like, oh, please, boss, let me go and, can I please get that 10-cent raise? I swear I worked extra hard. You don't have to do that ever again. And I used to be in upper management in the corporate world. I was that guy on the other end of the table. I was interviewing people,
yeah.
um, and just goes to show, just one, you could get as far up in the food chain of the corporate world as possible, right? And it still means nothing to them, right? Oh, cool. It still means, yeah, see, my MacBook agrees. It still means nothing to them, right? And I was interviewing people too, and this goes for like college. Like when I was the hiring manager, and I would interview people that would have bachelor's degrees. I didn't have a degree. I did go to college, but I didn't graduate. But
Yeah.
I was interviewing people who had a degree. I didn't have the degree. And those people, I never, not once did I ever hire anybody with a degree. And why? Because one, they're extremely arrogant. They think that they just know everything. They think that they deserve more money instead of having to earn it, and they have no experience. You spend 4 years in a school, and you most of them aren't really working a job, right? They're just focusing on their degree, and then they come to somebody like me, and I'm looking at their resume, and they have nothing to show for it, but yet they're still arrogant. So it really is when Tate and everybody says that, that university is just, it's not, it's a failed system. It
It
really
really is.
is, and I know that because I've experienced it. I was that guy that was like, you have a degree, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Excuse
it's
my
true.
language. Yeah.
And you know what it is as well? Learning from someone who's actually in the field makes a whole world of difference because they understand completely the current environment, not what the book
Yep.
says or what how it's supposed to be theoretically. They have actual experience in the field. So when they're telling you,
Yep.
know where it's coming from a place of real time experience, and I just think that's immeasurable.
Yeah,
Um,
and nobody like talks about that. Like my stepbrother, he's always trying to convince me how the real world and he's not on our team, right?
yeah,
So he's always sending me stuff that's, oh, what do you think about this? And he'll send me an interview. Like he sent me a YouTube interview the other day of Jay Dyer, right? So I guess Jay Dyer was doing an interview, and it was just like a shit fest on Tate, and it was clearly biased. And at the end, they start talking about the real world. I've been in the real world for 3 years, and they don't mention anything about all the different skills you could learn. All he said was, "Oh, I think it's just some school where you could learn pressure washing," and they laughed at that. First of all, pressure washing is a good business. You can make a lot of money doing pressure washing. But
yeah,
second of all, there's so much more you can learn on social, not, well, I mean, on social media, but there's so much more you can learn inside the real world than pressure watching. They teach copywriting there. You can learn crypto trading. You can learn social media management. You can learn literally any skill under the sun that you could then go and monetize and start making something for yourself. It's so much more than just, oh, they teach you pressure washing. It's
yeah.
it doesn't really do anybody any good of service to listen to people like that. So that was just yeah, I've been wanting to vent about that for a while because, and I almost got in the comments, but sometimes we've got nothing to prove,
Yeah,
right? We
exactly.
have nothing to
You're,
prove.
no, to be fair, you're the proof. You're the proof.
Yeah,
You're here now.
exactly,
You're making money.
exactly.
You're living proof that it works. So
Yeah,
you don't need to get in the
exactly. My
comments.
stepbrother said, "Oh, people are telling me that, that there's no ROI." I was like, "What are you talking about, bro? I'm making on average anywhere between 3,500 to 4K a month for $50. That seems like a pretty high ROI to
Yeah,
me."
exactly, bro.
Like what are you
Yeah,
talking about? And he shuts up right away. So
yeah. So in the real world, they also have a fitness campus because they like to
Mhm.
make sure everyone's the real world's really about building not just your mind but your body so that you're completely ready for the world. Do
Yep.
you partake in any of the fitness schools that in the real world? Have you taken advantage of that
I
yet?
well, I don't. So I know I briefly mentioned this earlier. I'm a former Marine, so I know how to.
Ah,
I know how to. I know how to build. Like I know how to exercise and work out.
yeah,
Um, and that's mainly why I've been focusing on getting the other part of what I need to improve myself. Right.
yeah,
Right. Which is my mindset. Which again, Professor Moneybag, thank you, brother. Like he helped out with that big time, and then my money. Right. So getting that part up to speed.
yeah,
So, but I have, because I said I've been campus hopping. I did browse the fitness campus for a while, and just like anything else, they will show you exactly what to do, and if you stick to it, there's even a diet plan. It's crazy.
yeah,
I've never seen anything like it, and they'll tell you exactly. They give you a whole meal plan, and they'll tell you exactly like what to make for breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's insane. So like if anybody enters that campus and does not get in good shape, then it's not on the real world. It's literally just on them. It's like I've been saying this
yeah,
entire time that it's all on you. Like we could show you what to do, but until you actually make up in your mind that this is what I want, I'm tired of it, I'm done, I'm doing it, then you're not going to get the results. Just like anything in the real world, no pun intended.
yeah, yeah. Amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for that, man. I really do appreciate you stopping by and just kind of
Yeah.
explaining like where you're at and how it's been amazing for you. And I will say one thing: there's people out there who say they want things, and there's people there who think they want things, but it's really different when you actually want something because you will make sure it happens. And that's what the real world is about: is like taking real life situations and real life teachings from a real life working environment and being able to apply that so you can be prosperous and you can make money and you can feed your family, feed yourself, and take yourself out of a situation where you're not in control of your money or your time. And they really are trying to
Exactly.
give that back to the people. So I do think it's great for you to come on here and kind of express how you're an example of that, you know. So we do thank you, and
Thank
we
you.
look forward to see you keep grinding and making you up to the top, man. It's going to be
Of
exciting
course,
times for
man.
you.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Amazing, man. Appreciate you. You have a good night.
Nice meeting you.
All right,
All
bro.
right.